The rain fell hard on the streets of Seoul that night. Do-hyun sat in his small apartment, working on a broken ship engine part under a single lamp. His hands were covered in grease, and his back hurt from bending over the workbench for hours. He was tired, but he needed the money. Being an independent mechanic was not easy, especially when most people preferred the fancy alien repair shops that had opened after Earth joined the Galactic Council 3 years ago. Do-hyun did not trust aliens much. He had served in the military before, and he had seen how the other species treated humans. They looked at Earth people like children, like primitives who had just learned to walk. The Galactic Council gave humanity a seat at their table, but it was the smallest chair in the corner. Humans had no real power, no respect. He wiped his hands on a rag and looked at the clock. Almost midnight. Time to sleep. But then he heard it. A soft knock on his door. It was so quiet, he almost missed it. Do-hyun frowned. Nobody visited him this late. He walked to the door and opened it carefully. What he saw made him freeze. A woman collapsed at his doorstep. But she was not human. Her skin glowed with a soft silver light, even in the darkness. Her hair was long and white, almost like moonlight. Strange crystal patterns ran along her temples and down her neck, shimmering with faint colors. She wore torn clothing that looked expensive, made from fabric that seemed to shift colors when the light hit it. She was hurt. Blood, darker than human blood, stained her clothes. Her breathing was shallow and weak. The woman looked up at Do-hyun with violet eyes filled with fear and pain. She opened her mouth and spoke in broken Korean, her voice barely a whisper. "Please, don't let them take me." Then her eyes closed, and she went limp. Do-hyun's mind raced. Every instinct told him to shut the door, to call the authorities, to not get involved. Helping a random alien could bring trouble, big trouble. But he looked at her face, at the desperation that had been there in those final seconds before she passed out, and he could not do it. He could not leave her there. He grabbed her under the arms and pulled her inside, closing the door quickly. She was lighter than he expected, her body almost delicate. He carried her to his couch and laid her down carefully. Now that he could see her better in the light, he noticed more details. The crystal patterns on her skin were not decorations. They seemed to be part of her, growing from within. Her clothing had symbols on it, intricate designs he did not recognize. Wait. He did recognize one symbol. On her torn sleeve, there was an emblem, a star surrounded by 3 rings. Do-hyun felt his stomach drop. He had seen that symbol before, during his military training. It was the royal insignia of the Valoran Empire, one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. This woman was Valoran nobility. Maybe even royalty. What did I just bring into my home? Do-hyun muttered to himself. He pushed the thought away and focused on her injuries. His military training kicked in. He had been a combat medic before becoming an engineer. He could help her. He grabbed his first aid kit and started working. She had deep cuts on her arms and legs, burns on her hands, and something embedded in her left forearm that glowed with a faint red light. A tracking device. Do-hyun's blood went cold. If she had a tracker, then someone was looking for her. Someone would find her soon. Would find him. He looked out his window, and his worst fears came true. 3 ships hovered in the sky above Seoul. Sleek and dark. Nothing like the clumsy human vessels. They moved in a search pattern, beams of light scanning the streets below. They were looking for her. Do-hyun had maybe 10 minutes before they pinpointed this building, maybe less. He looked back at the unconscious alien woman on his couch. He should throw her out. He should save himself. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way she had said those words, the pure terror in her voice. Maybe it was because he was tired of being pushed around by powerful aliens who thought humans did not matter. Or maybe he was just stupid. "All right," he said quietly to himself. "Let's see what I can do." He examined the tracking device more closely. It was embedded deep in her flesh, connected to her blood vessels. He could not remove it without killing her. And he did not have the tools anyway. But maybe he could disrupt the signal. Do-hyun was not a quantum physicist, but he knew basic electromagnetic principles. The tracker probably used some form of quantum entanglement to broadcast her location. Advanced alien tech, far beyond Earth's capabilities. But all technology had weaknesses. All signals could be blocked. He ran to his workbench and started grabbing tools and wire. He worked fast, his hands moving with practiced speed. He tore open his apartment's electrical panel and started rewiring everything, creating a crude but effective Faraday cage. He grounded the entire system through the building's foundation and cranked up the electromagnetic interference using his welding equipment. It was messy, dangerous, and probably illegal, but it might work. The lights in his apartment flickered and dimmed. His electronics sparked and died. But the tracking device on the woman's arm, the red glow slowly faded to black. Do-hyun let out a breath he did not know he was holding. The signal was blocked, at least temporarily. But those ships outside would not give up. They would search, building by building, if they had to. He looked at the woman again. She was still unconscious, but her breathing was stronger now. He had bandaged her wounds and given her some painkillers. She would live, for now. Who was she? Why was she running? And why had she come to his door? As if answering his question, the woman's eyes opened slowly. She looked around confused. Then her gaze fixed on Do-hyun. Fear flashed across her face for a moment, before she seemed to remember something. She tried to sit up, but winced in pain. "Easy," Do-hyun said. "You are hurt badly." The woman stared at him, then looked at her bandaged wounds, then at the blocked tracker on her arm. Understanding dawned in her violet eyes. "You helped me," she whispered in Korean, her accent thick but understandable. "Why?" Do-hyun shrugged, suddenly feeling awkward. "You asked me to. But I am a stranger, an alien. Helping me puts you in danger." "Yeah, well," Do-hyun said, looking out the window at the searching ships. "I figured that out already." The woman tried to stand, but her legs gave out. Do-hyun caught her before she fell. This close, he could see tears forming in her violet eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "You do not understand what you have done for me." "What it means. Then maybe you should explain," Do-hyun said. "Starting with who is looking for you, and why I just made myself an enemy of people, with ships that can blow up my entire city." The woman took a shaky breath. "My name is Nari, and those ships belong to the man I was supposed to marry, a warlord named Kravik. If he finds me, he will kill you and everyone in this building. Then he will take me back to complete a wedding that will give him control of my empire's weapons and armies." Do-hyun stared at her. "You are a princess." "Yes, and you ran away from your wedding." "I ran away from becoming a tool for conquest and death." Outside, the ships were getting closer. Do-hyun could see soldiers in dark armor walking the streets now, going door to door. They had minutes, maybe seconds. Do-hyun made a decision. Maybe it was stupid. Probably it was stupid. But he had already chosen his path when he pulled her inside. "Can you walk?" he asked. Nari nodded, though she looked unsteady. "Good, because we need to run. Now." Do-hyun grabbed a backpack and threw in some supplies. Food, water, his tools, and a small pistol he kept hidden under his bed. It would not do much against alien armor, but it made him feel better. Nari watched him with wide eyes, still weak but trying to stay alert. "The elevator?" she asked. "No. They will be watching it. We go through the maintenance tunnels." Do-hyun led her to a small door in his kitchen that most people thought was just a closet. Inside was a ladder leading down into the building's old maintenance system. Seoul had been rebuilt many times over the centuries, and the city was full of forgotten tunnels and passages. Do-hyun had explored them when he first moved here. Just out of curiosity, now he was glad he did. They climbed down carefully. Nari was struggling, her injured body barely able to hold on to the ladder. Do-hyun stayed close, ready to catch her if she fell. When they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a dark tunnel that smelled of old concrete and rust. "This way," Do-hyun said, turning on a small flashlight. They walked as fast as Nari could manage, moving deeper into the underground. Behind them, Do-hyun heard noises, heavy footsteps and strange clicking sounds. The soldiers were in the building now. They would find his apartment empty and start searching everywhere. Tell me about these soldiers, Do-hyun whispered as they walked. What are they? Quote, Kresh warriors, Nari said, breathing hard. Kravik's personal army. They are insectoid. Very strong. Very fast. Their armor can stop most weapons. They do not give up once they have a target. Great, Do-hyun muttered. How many? I saw 3 ships. Each carries about 20 Kresh. Maybe 60 total searching for me. 60 trained alien soldiers against 1 human mechanic and an injured princess. Do-hyun tried not to think about those odds. They reached an intersection in the tunnels. Do-hyun paused, trying to remember the way. He needed to get to the old subway system. From there, they could travel across the city underground. But which tunnel? A sound echoed behind them, closer now. The Kresh were in the maintenance system. They had found the ladder. Run, Do-hyun said. They ran through the tunnels, Nari gasping with pain but pushing herself forward. The clicking sounds behind them grew louder. Do-hyun could hear the Kresh communicating in their strange language, chittering and hissing to each other. They burst through a rusted door and found themselves in the old subway tunnels. The trains had not run here for decades, not since the new magnetic rail system was built. The tunnel stretched into darkness in both directions. Do-hyun chose left, and they ran along the old tracks. Behind them, the door exploded off its hinges. 3 Kresh warriors stepped through, each one over 2 meters tall, covered in black armor that gleamed in the darkness. They had 4 arms, each one ending in sharp claws. Their heads were angular and insect-like, with multiple eyes that glowed red. One of them spotted Do-hyun and Nari and made a screeching sound. All 3 charged. Do-hyun pulled out his pistol and fired. The bullets bounced off their armor like toys. This way, Do-hyun shouted, pulling Nari into a side passage, a maintenance alcove barely big enough for a human. The Kresh tried to follow, but their larger bodies got stuck. They screeched in frustration and started tearing at the walls, widening the passage. Do-hyun and Nari kept running. The tunnel ahead was blocked by an old gate, locked and covered in rust. Do-hyun shot the lock and kicked the gate open. They stumbled through and found themselves in an old maintenance room filled with ancient equipment, and someone was already there. A man stood up from behind a workbench, pointing a much bigger gun at them. He was Korean, about Do-hyun's age, with messy hair and suspicious eyes. Then, recognition flashed across his face. Do-hyun? What the hell are you doing here? Do-hyun almost laughed with relief. Minho? I could ask you the same thing. Do-hyun? Minho Kim lowered his gun. He had served with Do-hyun in the military, back before they both got out and went their separate ways. Do-hyun had heard Minho was dealing in black market technology now, selling alien tech that was not exactly legal. Looking at the equipment around this hidden workshop, those rumors were true. I work here, Minho said. This is my shop. Who is she? He pointed at Nari. Long story. Short version? She is an alien princess running from a warlord, and his army is about to break through that door. We need help. Minho stared at him. You are joking. The sound of tearing metal echoed from the tunnel. The Kresh were almost through. Does it sound like I am joking? Do-hyun said. Minho cursed in Korean and ran to his workbench. He grabbed several devices that Do-hyun did not recognize. Fine. But you owe me big time. Get behind the blast shields. They ducked behind thick metal panels just as 3 Kresh warriors burst into the room. Minho threw one of his devices at them. It exploded with a bright flash and a wave of electromagnetic energy. The Kresh screeched as their armor systems sparked and failed. They were not dead, but they were stunned and confused. Move! Minho shouted. They ran through another door, and Minho sealed it behind them with some kind of locking mechanism. They were in a larger tunnel now, one that connected to the working subway system. Do-hyun could hear trains in the distance. Your workshop? Do-hyun asked as they caught their breath. Yeah. I deal in alien tech. Some legal. Mostly not. That workshop took me years to set up. Minho glared at him. Thanks for bringing an alien death squad to it. Sorry, Do-hyun said. Nari leaned against the wall, exhausted. I am sorry too. I have brought trouble to both of you. You should leave me. Save yourselves. Shut up, Minho said. If Do-hyun decided to help you, he had a reason. Do-hyun looked at Nari. Tell us everything. Who is Kravik? Why does he want you so badly? Nari took a deep breath. Kravik is the warlord of the Dominion Armada. He has conquered 17 systems in the last decade. He uses politics and marriage to gain power, then destroys anyone who resists. My father, the Emperor of Velor, arranged my marriage to Kravik as a peace treaty. But I discovered the truth. Kravik plans to use Veloran weapons to destroy more worlds. My marriage would give him legal access to our military technology and make his conquests legitimate in the eyes of the Galactic Council. So you ran, Minho said. I stole a ship and escaped during the wedding preparations. But Kravik sent his creche after me. They destroyed my ship. I crashed outside your city. I was wounded and desperate. I saw lights in windows and chose one randomly. I chose your door. She looked at Do-hyun. I did not know you would help. Most species in the galaxy would have turned me away or sold me to Kravik. But you, a human, you brought me inside. You protected me. Why? Do-hyun thought about it. Why had he helped? He could not give a good answer. Maybe because he remembered being helpless once, after losing his family in an accident years ago. Maybe because he was tired of powerful people crushing those who could not fight back. Or maybe Minho was right. Maybe he was just stupid. You asked me to, Do-hyun said finally. That was enough. Nari stared at him like he was speaking another language. I do not understand humans. In the galaxy, everyone has a price or an angle. But you risked everything for a stranger who asked for help. This is not logical. Maybe not, Minho said. But it is human. A notification pinged on Minho's illegal communication device. He looked at the screen, and his face went pale. We have a bigger problem. Check this out. He turned the screen so they could see. It showed an emergency broadcast on all Earth channels. A stern-looking alien appeared on the screen, its features sharp and official. It spoke in the common galactic language, with human translation underneath. Attention Earth. The Galactic Council has issued an emergency mandate. The Veloran fugitive known as Princess Elisara must be surrendered immediately. Earth has 48 hours to comply or face economic sanctions and military blockade. This is not negotiable. Failure to comply will be considered an act of hostility against the Council. You have been warned. The broadcast ended. Do-hyun felt cold. This was no longer about him helping one person. This was now a problem for the entire planet. They called you Elisara, he said to Nari. That is my real name. She admitted. I used Nari to hide my identity, but it seems that is no longer possible. 85. Well, we can to ground. Asks. 48 hours, Minho said. The whole world will be looking for her. Every government. Every agency. They will find us. Nari looked at both of them. Then you should give me to them. I am not worth starting a war over. Do-hyun shook his head. That is not happening. Why not? Nari demanded. I am one person. Earth is billions. The math is simple. Because humans do not work like that, Do-hyun said. We do not trade people like property, even if it is convenient. Minho sighed. He is right. Besides, I saw the data on Kravik when I was browsing black market information. That guy is a monster. If we give you back to him, you will suffer. We cannot do that. Nari looked between them, confused and amazed. You are both insane. Your entire species must be insane. Probably, Minho agreed. But we are your insane people now. So let's figure out how to keep you alive. They sat down in the tunnel and started planning their next move. News of the Galactic Council's ultimatum spread across Earth like wildfire. Every screen, every device, showed the same message. Surrender the alien princess, or face the consequences. People gathered in the streets, arguing about what should be done. Some wanted to give her up to avoid conflict. Others said, helping a refugee was the right thing to do, no matter the cost. In Geneva, at the headquarters of Earth's Unified Defense Council, the debate was just as heated. Ambassador Jiwan Li stood before the council members, her face tired from hours of discussion. We must be realistic, Jiwan said. Earth cannot fight the Galactic Council. We are one planet against thousands. If we refuse to hand over the princess, they will destroy our economy. They will blockade our space. Millions will suffer. Is one alien life worth that? General Taehyung Choi, head of Earth's military forces, stood up. He was an older man, with gray hair and scars from past battles. He had fought in every major conflict Earth had seen in the last 30 years. With respect, Ambassador, I disagree, Taehyung said. Throughout human history, we have faced this same choice. Surrender the innocent to save ourselves, or stand and fight for what is right. Every time we chose surrender, we regretted it. Every time we stood firm, we became stronger. This is different, another council member argued. We are talking about aliens with technology far beyond ours. This is not like our past wars. Is it? Taehyung asked. They threaten us because they think we are weak. They think humans will fold under pressure. Maybe it is time to show them they are wrong. And if they attack, Jiwan demanded, what then? How many humans die for your pride? It is not about pride, Taehyung said quietly. It is about who we are. If we surrender this woman to a warlord, we tell the galaxy that human promises mean nothing, that we abandon people who ask for help. Is that who we want to be? Thanks for watching. And remember Brock to the side. 1. The room fell silent. The council had no easy answer. Meanwhile, in Minho's hidden workshop beneath Seoul, Do-hyun worked with Nari on a different solution. If they could not fight the council directly, maybe they could change their minds. You said Kravik has committed war crimes, Do-hyun said. Can you prove it? Nari nodded. I have data. When I escaped, I took copies of classified files from my father's archives, evidence of Kravik's atrocities, planets he destroyed, species he enslaved, all hidden from the Galactic Council. Why did your father agree to the marriage if he knew this? Minho asked. Fear, Nari said simply. Kravik is too powerful to fight directly. My father thought the marriage would protect Velor, but it would only doom us all. Then we expose him, Do-hyun said. We show the galaxy what Kravik really is. If the other council species see the truth, they might change their minds about the ultimatum. How? Nari asked. We have no access to galactic communication networks. We are trapped on Earth. Minho smiled. That is where I come in. I have been selling black market tech for years. That means I have contacts and access to communication systems I should not have. I can broadcast a message to the entire council space. It will be illegal. They will trace it eventually, but it might buy us time. They spent hours working together. Nari accessed her encrypted data files, pulling out evidence of Kravik's crimes. Images of destroyed worlds. Records of enslaved populations. Testimony from survivors. It was all there, hidden away by powerful people who did not want the truth known. Do-hyun helped organize the information into a clear presentation. He was surprised by how well he and Nari worked together. She understood technology in ways he did not, but she relied on his practical knowledge to make things work. They complemented each other. Ready. Minho finally said, I can broadcast this to every major council world. Everyone will see it. Do it, Nari said. Minho pressed the button. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, the broadcast appeared. It interrupted regular programs, council sessions, and daily life. The evidence was undeniable. Kravik's fleet destroying civilian ships. His soldiers executing prisoners. Whole planets turned to ash. And through it all, the Galactic Council had done nothing, because Kravik had power and political connections. The galaxy erupted in outrage. On Earth, people watched the broadcast and finally understood what they were facing. This was not about politics or territory. This was about stopping a monster from gaining more power. Support for protecting Nari grew stronger. But Kravik's response was swift and brutal. His fleet appeared in Earth's orbit, massive warships that dwarfed anything humanity had built. There were over 50 ships, each one capable of destroying cities. From the lead ship, Kravik's message broadcast across all of Earth. The warlord appeared on screen. He was tall and covered in dark armor, his face hidden behind a helmet. When he spoke, his voice was cold and emotionless. Humans, you have made a grave mistake. The princess belongs to me by right of law and treaty. You have 24 hours to surrender her. If you refuse, I will demonstrate the price of defiance. Your cities will burn. Your people will suffer. This is your only warning. The message ended, leaving Earth's population terrified. Kravik had just declared war. In Geneva, the Unified Defense Council made their decision. General Taehyung ordered Earth's entire defense fleet to defensive positions. It was only 100 ships against Kravik's 50, but the human vessels were smaller and older. Military analysts said Earth would lose in less than an hour if fighting started. But Taehyung refused to surrender. Ready all defenses, he ordered. If Kravik wants a fight, we will give him one. Ambassador Jiwan looked at him sadly. You are condemning millions to death. No, Taehyung said. Kravik condemned them when he made his threat. I am giving them a chance to fight back. Around the world, people reacted to the news. Some fled to shelters. Others joined volunteer militias, ready to defend their homes, even though they knew it was hopeless. Humanity was outnumbered and outgunned. But they would not go down without a fight. In the underground workshop, Nari watched the broadcast with tears in her eyes. This is my fault. Billions will die because I ran away. No, Do-hyun said firmly. They will fight because it is the right thing to do. Because sometimes you have to stand up to bullies, even when you know you will lose. But why? Nari demanded. Why would humans do this? You barely know me. Do-hyun thought about it. He remembered his military service, the motto they had lived by. Never leave anyone behind. It was simple, maybe even stupid, but it was what made them human, because someone has to. He said finally, if everyone just looks away when bad things happen, then the bad guys win. Maybe we cannot beat Kravik, but we can show him that Earth will not surrender. That means something. Minho pulled up new data on his screens. We have allies. Some of the smaller council species saw our broadcast. They are demanding an investigation into Kravik. The Listen Collective is sending observers. The Zenik Coalition is filing formal protests. It is not much, but it is something. A message appeared on Minho's communication device. He opened it, and his eyes widened. We have visitors. Friendly ones. I think. 3 people appeared at the workshop entrance. One was a Velaran like Nari, but male and wearing Royal Guard armor. The second was a small alien covered in cybernetic implants, carrying data equipment. The third was human, a woman with short black hair and pilot gear. Princess Elisara. The Valoran guard said, kneeling. My name is Kiran. I served your father before I realized the truth about Kravik. I cannot let you face this alone. The cybernetic alien stepped forward. I am Arvin, a historian. I have been documenting Kravik's crimes for years. Your broadcast gave me hope that someone would finally listen. The human woman smiled. And I am Yuna. I am a trader with the Lisan Collective. I have friends who want to help. Earth is not alone. Nari looked at all of them, amazed. You came to help? Even though it means fighting Kravik? Yes, Kiran said simply. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, Arvin added. Plus, I like humans. They are interesting. Yuna nodded. Someone has to stand up to that monster. Might as well be us. Meeting 7. Meeting 17. Do-hyun felt hope for the first time since this started. They were still impossibly outnumbered. Kravik's fleet was still in orbit, ready to attack. Earth's military was still preparing for a battle they would probably lose. But they were not alone anymore. Minho brought up tactical displays. If we are going to fight, we need a plan. Kravik has more ships and better weapons, but he also has weaknesses. He is arrogant. He thinks humans are primitive and weak. We can use that. How? Nari asked. By being exactly what he does not expect, Do-hyun said. Humans are good at fighting dirty. We do not play by the rules. We adapt and improvise. That is what we do best. General Tae-young's face appeared on the communication screen. He looked directly at Do-hyun. You are the one protecting the princess. We have been trying to locate you. Tae-hyun. Tae-hyun's pras. Do-hyun's pras. Are you here to arrest us? Do-hyun asked. No, Tae-young said. I am here to coordinate. Earth has decided to stand with you. If Kravik wants a war, he will get one. But we need your help. The princess has information we need. Tactical data on Kravik's forces. Will you work with us? Now. Do-hyun looked at Nari. She nodded. We will help. Do-hyun said. Good. Tae-young replied. Because Kravik just moved up his deadline. He is attacking in 6 hours. Get to the nearest military base. We have a war to plan. The screen went dark. Nari looked at Do-hyun. Your people are insane. All of you. You. Do-hyun smiled. Yeah. But we are your insane people now. 6 hours later, Kravik's fleet moved into attack position. The 50 massive warships spread across Earth's orbit, like predators circling prey. Every screen on Earth showed the same terrifying sight. The alien vessels were beautiful in their own way, sleek and deadly, covered in weapons that could turn cities to glass. At the military command center in Tokyo, General Tae-hyung watched the tactical displays with a calm expression. Around him, officers worked frantically, coordinating Earth's defense. Everyone knew the odds. Computer simulations gave Earth a 3% chance of survival. But no one spoke of surrender. Do-hyun stood next to Nari in the command center, both of them wearing communication headsets. Nari had provided detailed information about Kravik's ships, their weapons, their weaknesses. Earth's military was adapting their tactics based on her knowledge. He will start with orbital bombardment, Nari said, pointing to the tactical display. He wants to terrify you into surrendering. He will target major cities first, but only with warning shots. He thinks you will break immediately. He does not know humans very well, Tae-hyung said. We have been bombed before. We rebuilt. What else? His command ship is in the center of the formation, Nari continued. That is where Kravik will be. He likes to watch his victories personally. It is also his weakness. If we can damage his command ship, his fleet will become disorganized. The Kresh are loyal to Kravik personally, not to their other commanders. Minho worked at a nearby station with Dr. Haejin Park, Earth's leading expert in cyber warfare. Together, they were attempting something desperate. Using the encryption protocols Nari had provided, they were trying to hack into Kravik's fleet systems. We are in, Haejin said suddenly. The encryption is different from what we expected. But the princess's information helped. We can access their communication networks. Can you disrupt them? Taehyung asked. Maybe. Give me time. Time was the one thing they did not have. On the displays, Kravik's ships began charging their weapons. All ships to defensive positions, Taehyung ordered. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Remember the plan. Hit and run. Make them chase us. Use the debris fields and satellites as cover. We cannot win a straight fight, so we do not fight straight. Earth's fleet moved into position. 100 ships against 50. But the human vessels were smaller, faster, more maneuverable. They darted between orbital platforms and satellite clusters, preparing for the fight of their lives. Kravik's voice boomed across all communication channels. Humans, this is your final chance. Surrender the princess, and I will be merciful. Refuse, and watch your world burn. General Taehyung opened a response channel. Warlord Kravik, Earth's answer is no. If you want to fight, come and take it. There was a pause. Then Kravik laughed, a cold, metallic sound. So be it. Destroy them. The battle began. Kravik's ships opened fire. Massive energy beams lanced through space, targeting Earth's defense platforms. Explosions lit up the orbital space as shields failed and structures disintegrated. But Earth's ships were already moving, scattering like insects, refusing to present easy targets. Human pilots flew with reckless courage, diving through debris fields that would destroy their ships if they made one mistake. They fired kinetic weapons and missiles at the larger alien vessels, attacks that barely scratched the heavy armor but forced Kravik's fleet to respond. They are breaking formation, Nari said, watching the displays. Kravik is angry. He expected you to run or hide. That is not what we do, Do-hyun said. A team of volunteer pilots, led by Commander Daegun Hong, executed a desperate maneuver. They flew directly at one of Kravik's destroyers, dodging its weapons fire, and released electromagnetic mines at point-blank range. The mines attached to the ship's hull and detonated, disrupting its shields and engines. The destroyer began to drift. Disabled. One ship down, 49 to go. But the cost was high. 3 human ships were destroyed in the attack. Daegun's ship barely escaped, its hull scorched and systems failing. On the ground, civilians watched the battle unfold above them. In Seoul, volunteers loaded supplies onto transport vehicles, ready to help when the injured came down. In New York, engineers prepared repair drones to fix damaged ships. In Cairo, doctors set up emergency hospitals. Humanity worked together, everyone doing what they could. At the command center, Minho and Haejin made progress on their hacking attempt. We have access to 3 ships, Haejin reported. I can disrupt their targeting systems. Maybe more. Do it, Taehyung ordered. 3 of Kravik's ships suddenly fired on each other, their weapon systems hijacked by human cyber warfare. The alien crews struggled to regain control as their own vessels tore into each other. 2 ships were destroyed before the crash could shut down their systems. Kravik's voice erupted in rage. Impossible! Humans do not have this technology. Surprise, Minho muttered, his fingers flying across his keyboard. But Kravik adapted quickly. His fleet's computers began isolating their systems, making them harder to hack. The window of opportunity closed. Earth's cyber attack had worked once, but would not work again. The battle continued for hours. Earth's ships fought with everything they had, using tactics that Kravik had never encountered before. Human pilots would disable their engines and float like debris, then suddenly activate and attack when enemy ships passed. They would hide behind destroyed platforms and ambush from unexpected angles. They used construction drones as improvised weapons, ramming them into alien ships. It was chaotic, unpredictable, and very human, but they were losing. For every alien ship damaged or destroyed, Earth lost 3 of its own. The orbital space was filled with debris and the bodies of brave pilots who had given everything. Do-hyun watched the displays, feeling helpless. They were buying time, but for what? Eventually, Kravik would destroy Earth's fleet and begin bombing the planet. There had to be another way. The command ship, Nari said suddenly. We need to target Kravik directly. If he falls, the Kresh will retreat. They only fight for him. How? Tae-young asked. His command ship has the best shields and weapons. We cannot get close. I can, Nari said. I know the access codes. I can board the ship and disable its shields from inside. That is suicide, Do-hyun said immediately. Yes, probably, Nari agreed. But it is the only way. No, Do-hyun said firmly. We will find another solution. There is no time, Nari said. She looked at Tae-young. General, can you get me to that ship? Tae-young studied her. You understand what you are asking? Even if we get you aboard, you will be surrounded by Kresh warriors. They will kill you. Better me than millions of humans, Nari said simply. This is my fault. Let me fix it. Before Do-hyun could argue, alarms blared across the command center. On the displays, Kravik's fleet was moving into bombardment formation. He is preparing to fire on Tokyo, an officer reported. Full power bombardment. The city will be destroyed. Tae-hyung looked at Nari. If you have a plan, now is the time. I will go with her, Do-hyun said. You cannot fly a ship, Nari protested. No, but Minho can. And I am not letting you do this alone. Minho looked up from his station. Wait. What? You heard him, Do-hyun said. We need a pilot. You are the best we have. I am a black market dealer, not a fighter pilot. You were a pilot in the military. You told me that. I flew cargo transports. Same thing, Do-hyun said. Come on, Minho. One last crazy mission. Minho stared at him, then sighed. I am going to die, because you are a terrible friend. Fine. Let's go. Kiran, the Valoran guard, stepped forward. I will come too. You will need someone who can fight Kresh warriors. Yuna, the human trader, nodded. And you will need a ship fast enough to avoid getting shot down. I have one docked nearby. Let's move. Within minutes, they were aboard Yuna's ship, a small but fast vessel built for smuggling and quick escapes. Yuna flew with practiced skill, dodging debris and weapons fire as they approached Kravik's command ship. There, Nari said, pointing to a small docking port on the ship's underside. That is a maintenance entrance. My codes should work there. Should? Minho asked nervously. Probably, Nari said. Yuna brought them in fast, the ship shaking as enemy fire passed close by. She docked with a hard clang, the magnetic seals engaging. We are in, Yuna said. But we are not getting out. That was a one-way trip. Then we better make it count, Do-hyun said. They entered the alien ship, and the door sealed behind them. There was no going back now. Inside Kravik's command ship, alarms began to sound. The Kresh had detected intruders. Do-hyun checked his weapons, a simple rifle and his pistol. Against alien warriors, they would not be enough, but they would have to be. Nari led them through the corridors, moving fast. She knew the ship's layout, but they had minutes before the Kresh found them. The shield generator is 3 levels up, she said. Once we disable it, Earth's fleet can target the command ship. And Kravik? Kiran asked. We will deal with him too, Nari said grimly. They ran through the alien vessel, its corridors dark and oppressive. Then, they heard it. The clicking sound of Kresh warriors approaching. Dozens of them. Maybe more. Here we go, Do-hyun muttered, raising his rifle. The fight began. The Kresh warriors came at them like a wave of death. Their forearms swung clawed weapons, their armor gleaming in the dark corridors. Do-hyun fired his rifle, the bullets barely denting their protection, but he aimed for the joints where the armor was weaker, just like Kiran had taught him during their brief planning session. One Kresh fell, then another, but there were so many more. Kiran fought with a Valoran energy blade, the weapon slicing through Kresh armor like paper. He moved with trained precision, protecting Nari as she worked on accessing a control terminal. Yuna used a plasma pistol, covering their backs. Minho threw improvised explosives made from ship components, creating chaos among the enemy ranks. "How long?" Do-hyun shouted over the sound of fighting. 2 minutes, Nari called back, her fingers flying over the alien controls. They did not have 2 minutes. More Kresh were coming, their clicking communication filling the corridors. Do-hyun's rifle overheated, and he switched to his pistol. Every shot had to count now. A massive Kresh commander pushed through the others, larger and more heavily armed. It roared and charged at Kiran. The two clashed, trading blows that would have killed a normal human. Kiran was skilled, but the Kresh was stronger. It threw him against the wall hard enough to crack his armor. Do-hyun aimed carefully and shot the Kresh commander in its exposed neck joint. The creature screeched and stumbled. Kiran recovered and finished it with his blade. "Done," Nari shouted. "The shields are down." Immediately, they felt the ship shake. Outside, Earth's fleet was targeting the command ship with everything they had. Explosions rocked the vessel as weapons found their marks. "We need to find Kravik," Nari said. "End this now." They fought their way deeper into the ship, toward the command bridge. The path was blocked by more Kresh, but they pushed through, leaving bodies behind. Do-hyun's arms ached, his ammunition was almost gone, but he kept moving forward. The bridge doors opened, and they rushed inside. Kravik waited for them. The warlord stood in the center of the bridge, his dark armor unmarked by the battle. He was taller than the Kresh, more imposing, and radiated menace. His helmeted face turned toward them, and when he spoke, his voice echoed with anger. "Princess Elisara, you have caused me considerable trouble." "Good," Nari said, stepping forward. "That was the plan. And you brought humans with you. How appropriate." "The weakest species in the galaxy, helping a coward run from her duties." "My duty is not to help you destroy worlds," Nari said. "I will not be your tool," Kravik laughed. "You think you have won? This changes nothing. I will hunt you across the galaxy. Every human who helped you will die screaming. I will burn Earth until nothing remains but ash and regret." "You are welcome to try," Do-hyun said, raising his weapon. "But you will have to go through all of us first." Kravik pulled out a massive weapon, something between a sword and an energy cannon. With pleasure. He moved faster than something his size should be able to move. His blade swung at Do-hyun, who barely dodged. The weapon cut through the wall behind him, melting metal like butter. Kiran engaged Kravik directly, their weapons clashing in bursts of light. But even Kiran was outmatched. Kravik fought with brutal efficiency, his every move calculated to kill. Yuna and Minho fired their weapons, but the shots bounced off Kravik's personal shield. He was protected by technology beyond what they could break. Nari ran to the bridge controls. "Keep him busy. I can override his armor systems from here." "In." "How long?" Minho shouted. 30 seconds. Kravik threw Kiran across the bridge and turned toward Nari. He raised his weapon, preparing to fire. Do-hyun jumped in the way. The energy blast hit him square in the chest. Pain exploded through his body, and he flew backward, crashing into the wall. He could not breathe. His vision went dark at the edges, but he had bought time. "Done," Nari shouted. Kravik's armor suddenly powered down, his shields failing. For the first time, he was vulnerable. Kiran seized the moment. His energy blade found the gap in Kravik's armor, piercing through. The warlord roared in pain and fury. He swung his weapon wildly, but his movements were slower now, weakened. Outside the ship, something else was happening. On the tactical displays, they could see new ships arriving. Ships from the Galactic Council's Peace Enforcement Fleet. The broadcast of Kravik's crimes had worked. The Council could no longer ignore the truth. "Warlord Kravik," a voice boomed over the communication channels. "This is the Council Enforcement Fleet. You are ordered to stand down immediately. Your war crimes have been exposed. Your authority is revoked. Surrender now, or be destroyed. Kravik staggered, his armor sparking and failing. He looked around the bridge, at the humans and aliens who had defeated him, at the fleet surrounding his ship. For the first time, there was fear in his voice. This is impossible. I am Kravik. I do not lose. Everyone loses eventually, Nari said quietly. The warlord tried to raise his weapon one more time, but Kiran's blade found his heart. Kravik fell to his knees, then collapsed forward. The terror of 17 systems was dead. Yuna rushed to Do-hyun, who was barely conscious. He is hurt badly. We need medical help now. The council ships have medical facilities, Nari said. She opened a communication channel. This is Princess Elisara of Valor. I request immediate medical assistance for wounded on board the command ship. They saved my life. Please save theirs. Within minutes, council medical teams teleported aboard. They stabilized Do-hyun and the others who were injured. The crisis was over. 3 days later, Do-hyun woke up in a hospital bed in Tokyo. His chest was bandaged and everything hurt, but he was alive. Nari sat in a chair next to his bed, and she smiled when she saw him open his eyes. You are awake. The doctors said you would be fine. Humans are remarkably resilient. Non. Non 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 non. Non 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 non. Non 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 non. Did we win? Do-hyun asked, his voice rough. Yes. Kravik is dead. His fleet surrendered. The Galactic Council has issued arrest warrants for his remaining commanders. The war crimes investigation is ongoing. She paused. Earth is a hero. The entire galaxy is talking about what happened here. What about you? I am free. My father has withdrawn the marriage arrangement. I can go home. She looked at him seriously. But I wanted to thank you first. You risked everything for me. Your entire planet stood against an empire for a stranger. I will never forget that. It was the right thing to do, Do-hyun said simply. Over the next weeks, Earth transformed. The planet that had been dismissed as primitive was now respected throughout the galaxy. Ambassador Ji-won negotiated new treaties, securing better trade agreements and technology exchanges. Humanity was given a real voice on the Galactic Council. Ships from dozens of species arrived at Earth, some for trade, others for diplomacy, many just out of curiosity about the humans who had defied Kravik. General Taehyung held a memorial ceremony for the fallen. Thousands of people attended, honoring the pilots and soldiers who had sacrificed everything. We did not fight because we could win, Taehyung said. We fought because someone needed help, and turning away was not an option. That is what makes us human. That is what we must never lose. Minho's illegal workshop became legitimate. With Earth's new access to alien technology, his skills were in high demand. He worked with scientists from around the world, adapting alien tech for human use. He also made sure that Do-hyun got credit for everything, though Do-hyun insisted he was just a mechanic. Kiran chose to stay on Earth, becoming an instructor for human soldiers, teaching them Valoran combat techniques. Yuna's trading business boomed as she became one of the primary contacts between Earth and the Lycan Collective. 2 months after the battle, Nari prepared to return to Valor. She stood in Do-hyun's apartment, the same place where everything had started. I have to go home, she said. My empire needs me. There are reforms to make, policies to change. Kravik showed us how broken the galaxy had become. Someone needs to fix it. You will do great, Do-hyun said. Nari handed him a small device, a Valoran data core containing advanced technology schematics. A gift. Learn from it. Adapt it. Improve it. That is what humans do best. Will I see you again? Do-hyun asked. Yes. Earth and Valor are allies now. I will return, and not just for diplomatic reasons. I have friends here. She smiled. Strange, violent, wonderful friends who do not know when to give up. She hugged him. And then she was gone, teleported to a waiting ship above. Do-hyun stood by his window, watching the alien ships in Earth's orbit. Not invaders, but visitors, traders, allies. The world had changed completely in just a few months. His door chimed. Another visitor, probably Minho coming to drag him to some meeting or celebration. Do-hyun was famous now, though he hated it. People called him a hero. He just thought of himself as someone who had answered a knock at his door. He opened the door and found a message drone hovering there. It displayed a hologram of Nari, recorded before she left Earth's system. Do-hyun, thank you for everything. You reminded the galaxy what true civilization looks like. Not advanced weapons or old empires, but simple compassion. The willingness to help when someone asks. Humanity's story is just beginning, and I cannot wait to see what you do next. Take care of yourself, my friend. The message ended. Do-hyun smiled and looked up at the stars through his window. Somewhere out there, other species were oppressed by tyrants like Kravik. Other people needed help, and now they knew that Earth would answer when called. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy. Not as warriors or conquerors, but as the people who would never turn away from someone who needed help. That was enough. That was everything. Do-hyun went back to his workbench, back to fixing engines and building things. But now, he worked with alien technology, learning and adapting, preparing for whatever came next, because the universe was big and full of dangers. But it was also full of people worth fighting for. And humans, Do-hyun had learned, were very good at fighting for what mattered. His communicator buzzed. A message from General Tae-young, requesting a meeting. Something about a new crisis on a distant colony world. They needed someone with experience dealing with aliens. Someone who understood how to bridge the gap between species. Do-hyun sighed, but he was smiling. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. After all, when someone asks for help, you answer. That is what humans do.